One, two, three. This is Dr. Alex Avila with Love University, and we're back. Every week we talk about how to love yourself, others, and higher nature. I'm an author, psychologist, and speaker, and our aim here is to help you live your life to the fullest in your love, relationships, personal health, spirituality, and your finances. And we're getting into what we call our fall session now. We're in the fall semester, summer is winding down, and we're going to talk about a topic that is always on people's minds, and it is how to surround yourself with love and live with joy and power. If you think about it, many of us are surrounded by love on a daily basis. Maybe we wake up next to our partner, our loved one, spouse. We see love in our children, our pets at home. Or we go out in the world and we see couples holding each other's hands, a mother or father helping a child, people expressing love in their work, having gusto in what they do. In terms of the romantic love or relationships, we know that it is very important for a lot of people in the world. In the U.S., 91% of women and 85% of men say they need to be in love to marry someone. Now, in terms of definitions, love is such a broad term. There are many ways to look at it. One definition is pleasure or affection toward people or life elements, and feelings of attachment, admiration, caring, and respect. At Love University, we have a different definition. It goes something like this. Love is a deep understanding of another. For example, having empathy for your partner, feeling as they feel. If they're feeling sad, you can relieve them by listening to them and giving them words of counsel. And the desire to express loving energy without expectation, to shine your positive, loving energy outward to other people and life itself, without expecting anything back, because many times expectations is what makes us feel disappointed. They don't love us back, or they don't like us as much. Or if it's work, you can even do your work with love. One of the greatest philosophers, Khalil Gibran, said, work is love made visible. So if you do work you love, whether it's teaching, writing, business, science, crafts person, being a caretaker, you will shine that love outwardly to others and help other people. But again, you do it without expectation. You don't expect necessarily a reward, although you can get paid for it and have accolades. That's not why you do it. You do it because you love it and you want to share that love with others. Now, in terms of biological aspects, love has certain components. For example, we know that there are certain brain chemicals that are released when you're in love, like dopamine, which deals with pleasure and excitement, that feeling of walking on clouds when you're in love with someone. Also, there's oxytocin, the bonding hormone, where you feel close to a person, you feel connected, you feel secure with that person. They did a study with the blood of women who are in love, and they found that they had stronger antiviral responses, which helped them in their personal health and also the health of their unborn child or fetus. Also, research shows that love is associated with certain parts of the brain that deal with long-term planning and inhibiting impulses. For example, being faithful and committed to your partner when you're in love. Now, in terms of where is the love most in the world, they actually did a very interesting study and looked at the most loving countries. They asked people, did you feel love yesterday, or how much love did you feel yesterday? They found that certain countries like the Philippines had a very high rate of feeling love. 93% of people answered yes to that question. They felt love in the previous day. And in fact, they have the world record for over 5,000 couples kissing simultaneously for 10 seconds in the Philippines. Another country, Rwanda, had 92% of people said they felt loved. The U.S. was around 81%, somewhere in the middle. Other countries had a low rate of feeling loved, like Armenia, Uzbekistan. Only 30% of people felt loved. And they also found that it wasn't really about the economic aspects or income. So certain other countries, Philippines, for example, had lower economic status, but they had a lot of love. And other countries had more income and economic status, and they had less feelings of love. So let's talk more about theories of love. What is love really? How does it work in our society? There's a psychologist named Lee that came up with an interesting theory called the types of lovers that we have. For example, the erotic lover bases their love on physical attraction, chemistry, sexual connection. They have a very high level of passion in their relationship. And oftentimes, the advantage is that they can be very loving toward each other, very intense. But when the physical attraction fades, maybe they get older, they gain weight, they start to lose that love that they had. So you can look at yourself, ask yourself, how passionate am I in a relationship? There's a passion scale. For example, do you have roller coaster emotions? Do you go highs and lows in the relationship? You can't stop thinking about the person. You have great despair if they leave you for a period of time, and you feel depressed when things are not going right. This is kind of a very intense kind of love. Then we have another kind of love or lover called ludic. Ludic means game player. People that want to get notches on their belt. They want to have sexual conquests as many as they can. Or they want to get attention or gifts from the opposite sex or same sex. Ludic lovers often can be very fun and they can be very charming, but they can be manipulative. And eventually, there's not much intimacy or depth to the relationship because it's more of a game they're playing. Then we have what are called the manic lovers. Manic is when you combine erotic sexual chemistry, and ludic gameplay. You have very kind of up and down relationship, kind of like love and hate. We've heard of the possessive partner, person who is very jealous, who in the beginning is wonderful. They're so romantic and they text you all the time and call you and they say you're the wonderful thing. But then you don't call them back in time and they get mad. They get jealous. So how dare you do that? They can become very angry. So we sometimes see people that are even stalkers that have this kind of manic love. It can be very intense. You feel like you're loved like no other time before, but then it can turn against you into anger, disappointment, and frustration. Then we have what are called the sturgic lovers. Sturgis is the term meaning companionship, friendship. So this is a very calm and practical kind of lover or love relationship where you hold hands together. It's very low drama. The great thing about this is that you have security. You have feeling of comfort. You know this relationship will last. But at the same time, it may become boring. It could be like two siblings together. You don't really have that sexual passion or chemistry. It's just more of a friendship. Then we have what are called the pragmatic lovers. If you combine sturgic, which is the companionship, and ludic game playing, you have a very practical kind of convenience kind of relationship or marriage, where you know up front what you want from the person. You know their financial status, maybe their talents or abilities, and how it fits with you. And it's almost like a partnership. You can say an arranged partnership where you decide that you want to be with this person or marry them based on what they can offer you, their benefits. Now this can work out as long as you offer each other what each other wants, but then if one of them doesn't offer it and the advantages go away, then the relationship and the love dies. And finally, you have what is called agapic lover, which is unconditional love, which we often don't see as often in male-female or partner relationships, but you might see it more with parent and child, where your child may become even a killer or a criminal, and you still love that child, but it doesn't work the same way with your partner. But this kind of love is very pure. It's very spiritual. No matter what your partner does, you still love them, and you're willing to forgive. The downfall is that maybe you can be taken advantage of, or you can have a partner that does bad things to you, and you're like a martyr, you're self-sacrificial, and you stay with that person. So you can suffer as well. Other things that we look at in love, and it's such a fascinating topic. Hatfield, a psychologist, talked about the different factors in love. For example, timing. You need to be in the right frame of mind. Maybe you came up with a divorce or a bad relationship, a breakup, and you're not ready for another love relationship. Also, attachment. How closely bonded you were to your parents can actually affect the way you bond to adults in love relationships. Something called secure attachment. For example, you were very closely attached to your parents in a positive way. They were loving, they were generous with you, and you felt loved. Chances are you're going to have a very positive love relationship. You will be able to fall in love and also develop companionship and long-term commitment. If you had what's called an anxious attachment, maybe your parents were cold and critical, or they didn't spend time with you, you may have clung to them. So as an adult, you're very needy and clingy and maybe dependent, and that can interfere with your love relationship because you initially have a lot of passion and then it fades away. Or you can be what's called avoidant. You avoided your parents. Maybe they were actually physically or emotionally abusive, so you avoided them. And as an adult, you avoid relationships as well, so you don't have the intimacy that you need to fall in love. And of course, similarities. I wrote a book called Love Types, which is a bestseller. It talks about compatibility and personality types. And the issue here is that you want to have someone who's similar in your deepest values, your religious or spiritual beliefs, your educational values. You can be different in certain superficial things, like you like bowling and they like tennis. Many times, similarities is what keeps you together long term. Another factor we look at in love relationships, this is a really fascinating one, is called a fantasy bond. If you have a parent who's not very loving, who may be critical or even withdrawn from you, some people create an imaginary view of that parent as a wonderful parent, as an ideal parent. It's a fantasy. And to do that, they need to devalue themselves because they think, well, if they're such a wonderful parent, why don't they love me? Maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe I'm inadequate. Maybe I'm not good enough. So when you have this fantasy bond as a child, as an adult, you might relive it by picking partners who are also cold and abusive and critical, just like your parents were, and you still keep feeling that inadequacy. So you need to recognize that there is a fantasy bond, and maybe get therapy or help to diminish that. And finally, evolutionary theory talks about love as a biological process. For example, we tend to pick mates who will pass along our genes, healthy genes, to our children. So we might find mates who are healthy in their physical appearance, who have loyalty, intelligence, ability to earn money and resources, talents, and also good nurturing skills, parenting skills. So we unconsciously may select partners that have these traits. So let's say that's a little bit about love itself, but how do we keep the love alive? How do we stay in love once we fall in love? Now, with our divorce rates, up to 50% of first marriages and 60% of second marriages, some people are cynical about marriage. In our society, people move from one person to the other. There's a lot of ways to meet people now through technology. is marriage really a viable thing? Can it work? And can you still be in love? And actually, research shows that you can still be in love. In certain marriages they studied that were together 10 plus years, they found that 40% of those married couples said they're very intensely in love. And in other couples that were married 30 plus years, they found that 40% of women and 35% of men said they're very intensely in love. Also, those who had been married for 21 plus years who were in love had similar brain activity to those who had recently fallen in love. They had the dopamine brain centers activated, the part that deals with pleasure. So it is possible to maintain love for a long period of time, even the intense feeling to a certain extent. How do we do it? First of all, know who you are. What is easy about you to love? Are you a lovable person? What do you contribute to a relationship? Think of your own qualities and traits and maybe things you need to work on. Also, you can do what's called love mapping. Write down the characteristics. What do you want in your soulmate or your mate, or even the person you're with right now? What do you admire about them? Their intelligence, their sense of humor, their loyalty, their dependability, their ability to help you in certain ways. And also ask yourself, are these realistic things you're asking for? And also, what do you contribute to them as well? So it's an even kind of interaction. Also, it's important to establish your presence with your partner. For example, tell them that you love them. You can write little notes, send them texts, gifts, spending time together, even if you're married, on little dates out. But at the same time, respect each other's independent space. Sometimes people get very clingy and needy in relationships, and that pushes them apart because the other person feels overwhelmed. So you can learn how to admire your partner's individual talents. Maybe they're good at a certain thing, a profession, a hobby that you can admire. We recently had a great guest on the show, Rebecca Forster, who's a award-winning crime novelist. And she told me that she has a great relationship with her husband, who's a criminal court judge. And he actually tells her some stories that she can change the names and things to write for her book, for her novels. Yet at the same time, he has a steady job where he comes home and then she can work anytime she wants. So they really have a great combination there because they have different talents and they appreciate and respect each other's talents. One interesting finding is that they looked at what are the characteristics that predict a long-term romantic relationship being successful. What are the characteristics or compatibility traits? And they found that the one thing that stood out, this is a study they did in the University of Geneva, was what's called love blindness, seeing your partner in a positive, almost a fantasy light. So seeing that they are, to you, smart, funny, caring, and thinking of them as a great catch, even though other people may not think they're such a great catch. They may not be physically appealing to other people or emotionally appealing, but to you they are. And being able to see their positives instead of their negatives, instead of their faults, is a huge positive in terms of predicting that marital or long-term relationship success. The other thing that's important is responding to the emotion in the relationship and not the words per se. For example, let's say you get an argument with your spouse and you're fighting and they might name call you or maybe bring up things and criticize you in certain ways. Instead of just focusing on that, ask yourself, what is the underlying emotion behind those words? You might say, well, maybe it's anger, but what is the feeling behind that? Many times it's fear, the fear that you will abandon them, that you will not love them anymore, that you will not change. Whatever it is, ask yourself, go deeper down. What is that feeling? What is that feeling that the words are representing? And that can really help you in the relationship communicate more clearly and get to what each of you want. Also, another important factor in predicting being in love, staying in love, is having passion for life. A study at Sunnybrook University found that people had more long-term romantic success when they had their own excitement in life. When each individual partner woke up every day and said, I'm going to do something great in my job or career or with the kids, and really going to have a wonderful time with my spiritual practice, my exercise regimen, my activities or hobbies or friends. In other words, they had an inner excitement, a happiness that was independent to them, that they can bring to the relationship. And each of them had that. So the passion and excitement and fun in their relationship was stronger as a result. And finally, those people that succeed long-term in love see the relationship as a way to develop individual self-fulfillment and also couple fulfillment. In other words, they're looking to try new things, exciting new things together to improve the relationship, to grow, both as a couple and as individuals. It's said that in older time relationships, people stayed together a long time and marriage was a strong commitment. There were fewer divorces. But in our society today, people move around more, yet they can still have great relationships if they focus on the idea of self-fulfilling and growing within the relationship, making the relationship a vehicle for what we call self-actualization, being the best you can be. Those couples have often the best and most wonderful and happiest relationships. So if you think about it, love can be summarized by asking yourself two simple questions. Here at Love University, our motto is, number one, how can I understand more deeply? How can I put myself in the shoes of my partner? Or even if it's related to work or other activities, how does what I do every day bring more love to the world and improve life? And with your partner, how can you lighten their load? How can you bring something better to them as they can do for you? So the more you understand them, you tend to judge them less, criticize them less, and try to change them less. Many times people try to change each other because they don't understand each other's personality. An introvert tries to change an extrovert and make them stay home more, but the extrovert wants to go out and interact with people, and the extrovert tries to change the introvert and get him out of the house when the introvert loves their quiet space to recharge. But the more they respect each other, understand each other, the better relationship they can have. And number two, knowing how to extend loving energy without expectation. Again, being kind to other people, smiling, maybe volunteering for a charity, listening to people with full attention without expecting anything back. Not that they will like you or respond in kind, because when we expect something back, we often have a tightness to ourselves. We have disappointment and frustration when people don't like us the way we want them to like us or do what we want them to do. Or even if it's work, we may do a lovely work, we may not be getting the rewards we want financially at the moment, and we're disappointed, but we say, I'm going to keep doing this work because it's inner, something I love within myself, and I'm going to express it to other people and help others in society through the work I love to do. So again, those are the important things. Understand deeply, love without expectation. If you do those two things, you can have more love in your life, you can expand your loving energy, you can bring more people in your life that are loving, and either find that right person, the soulmate, or enhance the marriage or relationship you already have in love. Your friendships, your family members, your children, even your animals, your dogs, having more love with your animal, your cat. And whatever it is that you love, you can increase and enhance it. So Love University students, this is my challenge to you this week. Go out and find a place or person where you can extend your loving energy to. Maybe it's people you already know, maybe it's your love partner. Say the right things to them that make them feel loved as you hear the same from them. Love University students, I have a special offer to make to you now. We have a lot of people that write to us and say, I want to find my soulmate, I want to find my partner, but I can't do it. I'm either too shy or introverted, or I've had bad luck in relationships. So our offer is that we are willing to use our love type technology based on my best-selling book, based on Myers-Briggs compatibility, to help you find your soulmate on air, on our show. So what you can do is send us an email with your photo, a little bit about yourself, the kind of person you're looking for. And what we can do is we can invite you to come on the show. We will find you a love type match person that matches you compatibility-wise, and then we'll send you out on a beautiful night out, courtesy of the show, paid for us by us, and then report back to us as how it worked out. We're very confident that we can help you through our love types compatibility approach to find that right person, because really love is what it's all about. At the end of your life, you're not going to ask how much money I should have made more. You ask how much I should have loved more. So if you're interested in this contest, it's available now for the next 30 days. Please write to us at loveuniversitylove@gmail.com. You can also call us at 310-226-8090. Visit us at loveuniversity.love. Like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Until next time, Love University students, this is Dr. Alex Avila. So I anticipate you will have a great week of love expansion this week without expectation, and bring more power, happiness, and joy into your life and the lives of those you love. It's time now to put away your notepads, your books, your iPads. Dr. Alex Avila, Love University. Until next time.